Hello and welcome to the United Community Channel. My name is Jack and this is your match preview for Ipswich Town versus Manchester United. Ruben Amorim's first game in charge as Manchester United head coach. And it's a term I'm going to have to get used to because I'm, Manchester United manager. Just rolls off the tongue. But one that I'm really looking forward to, guys. We're going to be doing a match preview and we're going to just base this match preview around who's going to play and who's going to start for Manchester United. Obviously, we usually talk a little bit about score predictions, starting 11, so on and so forth. And we'll incorporate that as well. We're going to talk a little bit as well about what the manager had to say about certain players and about, the way he wants to play going forward as Manchester United manager. He done his first press conference today. He also done an interview with Gary Neville for Sky Sports News. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. We've done a reaction video to the press conference today as well. So don't want to go too much in depth and be repeating myself. But as always, guys, you're all more than welcome. Please do smash a like on the video. Hit subscribe if you're new and get your comments into the live chat as well, or into the comment section below if you're watching back at a later date. But yeah, look, we're going into game one of the Ruben Amorim era and I'm very excited, I won't lie. Seeing him speak today both to Gary Neville and at the press conference to over 50 journalists who were in the room today, he seems like a very confident, a very charismatic and a very warming head coach, you would have to say, and one that you seem like you would like to play for, the excitement that I had about him taking over as Manchester United manager has only been heightened since seeing them interviews today. So I'm really, really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to see how we play more than anything else, how we set up tactically, how sharp do we look, can we look at and see maybe instant changes to what we're used to seeing under Erik ten Hag. And all of these things will play themselves out over the course of the 90 minutes on Sunday. Some disappointing news is that I actually can't do a watch along on Sunday. I've got a game with my own team up in Dublin on Sunday afternoon, so I'm actually going to be away for the game, but we will be doing a match reaction video that night as well. So looking forward to doing that as well. Who we got? Young Sauce is in, Dylan is there, Dara is in, buzzing for Sunday, he says. Dylan also says Ruben is so confident that he gets us back to the top. Let's hope it's not a dream. Yeah, well, look, let's all get on board and let's all pull in the one direction. But look, let's kick it straight off, guys, and talk about Ruben Amorim. And he was asked today, about maybe how Manchester United are going to line up on the weekend, and is he going to maybe change his style and change his tactics coming to Manchester United. And he had this to say for himself. He said, Manchester United reached me because my style of play is clear. When you watch Sporting, you know what you will get. I will continue to do that. I will do things my way. And it's absolutely refreshing to hear, to be quite honest with you. We want to hear these kind of things. The reason why Ruben Amorim has been brought to Manchester United is because of what he done at Sporting Lisbon. And why would you change that? Why would you take the zest and the ideas that he has and the style of play that he has away from him when you're bringing him to Manchester United down, only for the sake of tradition? Well, tradition hasn't got us very far over the last 10 years, 11 years since Sir Alex Ferguson left. And I think we're going into the realm now where we're talking about head coach. Is he the first head coach of Manchester United? I'm not too sure. I don't know what other, our previous managers were titled head coaches. I'm not too sure. But this guy's got an idea. He's got a style of play. He's got a philosophy that he wants to bring to United. Let him do it, because he's been successful with it so far. Now, one of the, I suppose, the main talking point around Ruben Amorim is the fact that he plays a 3-4-3. And a lot of people are saying, how is that going to translate to the Premier League? We've not seen it before, so on and so forth. He's going to play a 3-4-3. I'm pretty certain about that, to be honest. Dara says, where's the game in Dublin? I'll go along with a few pom-poms. It's actually not in Dublin. It's in Meath. We're playing Rathote in Meath. So, yeah, you all right?
Yeah, is there anything there
Just mad to get on camera, that's all. Anyway, back to what we were saying. 3-4-3 is what Ruben Amorim is going to play. I'm almost certain of it. Now, we're going to talk... Excuse me. There's going to be some coughing throughout this because I've got a bit of a chest infection. That's why I haven't been making videos over the last few days. And I was away for a few days with the kids as well and my wife in Wexford. Anyway, let's talk about how Ruben Amorim is going to set up. Okay, we're talking about a 3-4-3. Okay, so we're going to go through the areas in which, position-wise, and you know, if you've seen the thumbnail, we've got some question marks. Now, let's start with the goal. All right, now we know, of course, it's going to be Andre Onana. That's, you know, no question whatsoever. However, what kind of Andre Onana are we going to see? That's the question. We're used to seeing Andre Onana play, you know, these kind of. It's you know, under what's going on here? Yeah, so we're used to seeing Andre Onana under Erik ten Hag play these kind of balls, you know, quite consistently. You know, long balls, low flying balls, and you know, very slow in possession as well. I think it's fair to say. You know, we've seen, you know, he takes his time on the ball. He's quite laboured. You know, he likes to maybe invite a little bit of possession in on top of him and, you know, maybe overloaded and so on and so forth. I think under Ruben Amorim, we're going to see a lot more of Andre Onana playing in these areas. You know what I mean? Passing into his three at the back, or, you know what I mean, at the most into his wing backs here, you know, and sorry, I'm still getting used to using this, his wing backs here and here. So I think we will see a slight change to what we're used to seeing with Andre Onana, and I think it's all for the better. I think Ruben Amorim wants to move the ball quite quickly. He wants to keep possession. He wants to, I suppose, move the opposition as quickly as he possibly can. We've seen that an awful lot with Sporting Lisbon as well. So look, it's 100% going to be Andre Onana, but I'm going to be very interested to see what type of Andre Onana we're going to get. You know what I mean? Are we going to see balls into these areas like we've seen under Erik ten Hag, or are they going to be more defined, more short, you know, more intricate passing? It remains to be seen. Now, let's get on to the back three. Okay, and, you know, a lot of people talking about the back three of Yoro, De Ligt, Martinez, and while I do think in the back three with everybody fit, that is probably going to be our strongest, you know, back line. I think we've seen, and especially with the few clips that we've seen of training sessions, you know, the first training session that he took, there was a few little things that I did pick up on that I thought, you know, is that his plan to bring into the game on Sunday? Okay. Now, first and foremost, you know, I think De Ligt, you know, we're going to talk about De Ligt first and foremost. And I think when the dust is settled and everybody is back, I do think he will be playing in that middle role, the centre back. Okay. However, you know, if we're talking about the right centre-back, a lot of people are talking about Lenny Yoro, and as the left centre-back, a lot of people are talking about Martinez, okay? And like I said, I do think that will be our strongest lineup and the one that we'll probably see most often. However, for the weekend, I don't think Lenny Yoro is going to play. I just don't think he'll be risked, because I just don't think, you know, coming back from an injury so quickly that, you know, you can look at maybe testing him that quickly. So I think De Ligt is going to play on the right. Now, we have seen De Ligt play on the right of a back three before. He played there with Juventus on the right-hand side of a back three with Bonucci playing through the middle. So it's not like De Ligt has never played on the right side of a back three before. He's well used to it. He is absolutely well used to it. So I think for that reason alone, I think we are probably going to see De Ligt. Well, this is all my opinion. You guys can let me know what you guys think. Okay, so if De Ligt is playing on the right, who's going to play through the middle? And I think it's going to be this guy. I think it's going to be Johnny Evans, if I'm being 100%. We've seen these clips of Johnny Evans in training during the week, and he was playing that central role in the back three. Okay, and we know how good he is on the ball, right foot, left foot, very, very composed. I think it's going to be Johnny Evans to play there on Sunday against Ipswich. And look, I do think Martinez coming back as well. Talking about Martinez and that left side very quick, we do know that he came back early from international duty, and he didn't play, internationally because he's got a little bit of that niggle with his back as well. So it's not 100% certainty that Martinez will play as that back, one of them centre halves. Now, if we're talking about somebody else that we know can do that inside role, it is, of course, Luke Shaw, who's been back in training this week. Okay, and look, we know about Luke Shaw, and we know the injury concerns there is with him. Is it a scenario where we're going to talk about Luke Shaw saying we can't afford to bring him back too soon, and he has a reoccurrence of the injury? I do think it's feasible that he plays in that role, and I think he will play in that role at certain points throughout the remainder of the season if he stays fit. But for Sunday, we haven't heard anything, too detrimental about Martinez. I think it's going to be Martinez. I do think it's going to be Martinez. Now, let's talk about midfield. Okay, so we're talking about, first and foremost, will we talk about wing backs or will we talk about central midfield? Let's talk about the wing backs. Okay, let's talk about the wing backs for a moment. Now, we know first and foremost that the majority of people have been saying who suits the wing back role more than anyone that we've got, and I think it is going to be Delort, to be quite honest with you. It looks like it could potentially be Delort, and I wouldn't be surprised if it is. I do think Delort is ideally made for that right-sided wing-back role. Now, reasons being, he's better going forward than he is defensively. Now, the wing-back role is a very, very difficult position to play for a number of different reasons, but the main reason is sheer hard work and determination and effort. And in fairness to Delort, he's got all of them attributes in abundance, in fairness to him. And I think he will be that right-sided wing-back. I think there's no question about it. He may at times be used as the left-sided wing-back, but I think Delort is set up to play that right wing-back role. Now, when we're talking about the left wing-back, number of different people we can talk about here. Now, obviously, the main one and who has played on the left side is Mazraoui. Okay, well, let's leave him out for a moment. We mentioned him already, that Luke Shaw is very, very good going forward. There was a reason that Marcus Rashford scored so many goals in that 30 goal a season, and I think a lot of it was down to Luke Shaw staying fit for the majority of that season, of Eric Ten Hag's first year. The two of them linked up very well up and down that left hand side, and I think a fit and healthy Luke Shaw is a massive attribute to Manchester United. Will it be Luke Shaw this early? Again, I don't know. Now, another person that we could potentially look at playing that role is Malacia. We have seen him in training this week as well, playing in that left wing-back role, okay? And it is something that I think can be utilised. I honestly do. I think it can be something that Malacia can absolutely 100% do. We're talking about keeping players fit and keeping players healthy. Ruben Amorim had this to say about Luke Shaw. He says, I think he's a very good player, so I will take care of him. And I want these kinds of players that are important in our squad for a long period and not just for a game. And look, again, that's absolutely 100% the right call. Desi saying Jack is out with the tactical code. The way you're moving that mouse around, you might get a job for yourself. Telling you one thing, boy, that has to be done. Has to be done. Do me homework over the international break. But look, I mean, Luke Shaw, 100%, I think is a candidate for that left side. I honestly do think that. It's just whether we can keep him fit or not, and that's the issue. Now, the other area that we're talking about when we're looking at these wing-back roles, and Ruben Amorim was asked by Gary Neville today about what, if he will play defensive fullbacks in wing-back positions or play attacking wingers in a more defensive role. He said, I do not want to say too much, but you have to use both. You have to have different games. We have to start with fullbacks because to teach a winger how to defend is harder. The players will adapt. Now, that goes back to what we've seen in the clips during the week. Now, you would have to say, obviously, that there wasn't a full cohort of players there. However, we did see Anthony in some of them clips start out as a right wing back. Okay, one of the things we said about Anthony was that, of all of the downfalls he has to his game, one of the positive attributes throughout his Manchester United career was that his work rate defensively was always very good. You know what I mean? And there's countless videos online of me saying that about him. I don't think that will be the case, given the fact that, he said we have to start with fullbacks because to teach, wingers how to defend is harder. So I think more than anything else, what we're going to see on the weekend is we're going to see, obviously, Delo start as right wing back. And I think we're going to see, where is he? Mazraoui start as our left wing back. I just think that's the way it's going to set up, to be honest with you. And I don't see why either of them should be dropped. Mazraoui specifically, I think, has been up there with our best player so far this season. Well, 100%. Absolutely 100% he has been. And yeah, I mean, it is it's new territory for Manchester United and Manchester United fans and us doing these kind of videos because, we're used to, under so many managers now, just talking about 4-3-3, 4-3-3, 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, whatever the case may be. And it hasn't changed an awful lot. So it's new to us, but it's something I am looking forward to. Now, talking about midfield, okay, and obviously with the 3-4-3 that Ruben Amorim likes to play, the two central midfielders tend to be more defensive than anything else. Now, you can have one defensive player and you can have one more attacking player, or you can look at, maybe two more defensive players. Now, I think first on the team sheet for the weekend is going to be this guy, Manuel Ugarte. When you're talking about somebody that wants to close the spaces, that wants high intensity, all of the things that Ruben Amorim mentioned in his interviews today about working hard, tracking back, he wants athletes within his team. This guy ticks all the boxes. And we know that Manuel Ugarte made his name under Ruben Amorim at Sporting Lisbon. So I think this guy is going to be absolutely 100% the first name on the team sheet on the weekend. I'm convinced by it. And to be honest with you, I don't think too many people will have, too much else to say about that. Now, who partners him? That's the big question here, okay? And I think there are a number of different options here. Firstly, when you've got somebody like Manuel Ugarte, who is the more defensive side of the back four, you can look then at having somebody a little bit more advanced and a little bit more of a playmaker. And that is obviously Kobbie Mainoo, okay? Now, Kobbie Mainoo is only back from injury also. We've seen a lot of one-on-one work with Ruben Amorim in the short clips that we got during the week of training. So, look, under no illusions here that Kobbie Mainoo is going to play a massive part in Ruben Amorim's system and how he wants to play. However, Casemiro and Manuel Ugarte have played very well together in the period under Ruud van Nistelrooy. And I think one of the main reasons for that is that Mamadou Ugarte tended to play the more defensive side, and we actually seen Casemiro's performances drastically increase when he played a little bit more advanced, where he was allowed that freedom to get. Now he's not getting up here, you know what I mean, and getting into the box on the end of things in a 3-4-3 system, but you know, in a 4-3-3 system, where you've got two other midfielders centrally with you, he was allowed to get more forward. So I think we're probably going to see Casemiro play on the weekend against Ipswich. And I think he will have that license, you know, to back up. Sorry, guys. He will be given that freedom to allow to back up whoever the two number 10s are going to be in this 3-4-3 system. So I think we will see a Casemiro playing this kind of role, you know, in an area here, you know, moving into these spaces all of the time. And I think I think it will give us good balance. I genuinely do. So that's what I think the two in midfield are going to be. Now, again, let me know what you guys think. I think the way that this formation is set up and the way the team is set up, it's given us a lot of options to interchange players. It has to be said. You know, we've spoken already about the back, you know, where you can bring in Yoro, De Ligt can go in, Evans can come out, Yoro can go there. You know, you've also got Luke Shaw can come in on that left-hand side here instead of Martinez, so on and so forth. So, you know, the way we are setting up is allowing us to interchange players a lot, okay? So, you know, by all means, at some stage over the weekend, you may see Casemiro come out and you may see Kobbie Mainoo go in there. You know, 100%, I think that could be a possibility. You could nearly even say if he doesn't want to, you know, take a chance with Mainoo, you can bring Eriksen into that role as well, who's given that freedom to get a little bit more further forward, but is, you know, if we're 2 or 3 goals up, is acting as a more defensive style player. But I think, first and foremost, I think it is going to be Casemiro. Now, the 2 10s. Who's going to play in these 2 10 roles? Now, I think this is probably the easiest of the two to pick more than anything else. And there's a couple of reasons for it. The first reason is this guy, okay, Amad. He is by far our best player at the moment over the last maybe 3 or 4 games. He's been playing really, really well before the international break. And I think Ruben Amorim coming in, I don't think there's going to be anyone happier than Kobbie Mainoo. Amad Diallo. I think he is going to be the happiest player to see Ruben Amorim coming in, because Ruben Amorim plays with them 2 number 10s. And we know that Amad's priority, you know, and his favourite place to play is in one of them number 10 roles, you know, and especially coming in off the right there like that. And again, you know, he gives us that kind of attacking, you know, threat through central areas, you know, where, what the fuck is that? Where, you know, you can talk about him, you know, attacking the box. You know, we know how good he is as well, you know, at getting out around, on the outside, so on and so forth. You're going to have Delo overlapping him as well. I think Amad is made to play in a Ruben Amorim system. So I think he is going to be, the, you know, the number one, not the number 1, 10, because we'll talk about the other one now in a moment. But yeah, I think he's going to be absolutely delighted with the new setup under Ruben Amorim. Now, who's going to play in the other 10? Now, there's a number of different players that can play in that role. Absolutely there is. And we know, we've mentioned a couple of them already. We know Christian Eriksen can play in the 10 and has been playing very well for us this season and getting on the end of a few goals as well. He's had a bit of a resurgence this season. And he's one of the few players under Erik ten Hag this season that can hold his head up high. Played really, really well, and led by example in an awful lot of games. We also know then as well, and we've seen a lot of training clips throughout the week of Mason Mount playing in that number 10 position. Okay, and again, look, we know the qualities that Mount possesses, and this role, again, this inside 10 role is the role that Mason Mount played at Chelsea under Thomas Tuchel, and it was the role that he got Chelsea's Player of the year they won the European Cup. So Mount, by all means, is going to fit into that system quite nicely. However, I don't think there's any debate on who the other one is going to be. It's going to be Bruno Fernandes, in my opinion. I honestly believe it. Now, we know with Bruno, captain, leads by example, plenty of energy, up and down, always looking to get on the ball, always looking to create. I think Bruno Fernandes is going to be the dream player for Ruben Amorim. I honestly do. Now, I do think that we're going to see Ruben Amorim try and not, chip off some of the rough edges off of Bruno Fernandes as well. We talk about Bruno Fernandes being that type of player who, throughout the game, you're talking about, 1 minute he's up here trying to get on the ball, the next minute he's here, the next minute he's over here, then he's over here, then he's back up here, and the next minute he's getting in on goal. I think Ruben Amorim's system and the way he likes to set up his team is going to want to keep Bruno Fernandes as structured as possible. Now, the issue with that is that we've seen under Ten Hag's system was very structured, and it was very, I want everybody to know their position, I want to know what they're doing, so on and so forth. And I think Ruben Amorim is quite similar in that way. And we've seen subsequently then under Ruud van Nistelrooy, Bruno Fernandes got a little bit more of a free role. I think he scored 3 goals in 4 games for under Ruud van Nistelrooy, when he's given that little bit of freedom. And that's what he had under Solskjaer when he first came to Manchester United, when he was getting all of them goals. So Bruno Fernandes is one to keep a close eye on over the next few weeks under the start of the Amorim reign, to see, does Ruben Amorim, does he reel him in a little bit and say, no, I want you to play in this structured system? Or does he say to Bruno, you're the Tranquistador, off you go and do whatever you want, and we'll fill in the gaps behind you? I don't think that's going to be the case. I think Bruno Fernandes is going to have to play in a structured, especially when you're playing 2 number 10s. If you're playing 2 number 10s, Bruno can't be over here. You know what I mean? Because, hey, fuck off, that's Ahmad's role. He's going to be playing probably that inside left channel where he's getting here. It might be the case where Mazraoui is attacking and Bruno Fernandes goes on the overlap. No issues with that whatsoever. And it may be the case where when you're talking about a centre forward, obviously it's not going to be Mazraoui. Bruno is getting passed on this side. I think that's why we're going to see such a structured system under Ruben Amorim. Okay, it leaves one more position and a number of different people spots up for grabs here, to be quite honest with you. A number of different people, looking to take this last position. Now, first and foremost, let's talk about Zirkzee. Joshua Zirkzee, I think, will probably be happy with the fact that Ruben Amorim is coming in as well. I think maybe the change in formation will probably suit Zirkzee a little bit more. However, the issue here is that when you're playing in a system like this, it's very easy for Zirkzee to drop out because you've got 2 number 10s that can run past. You know what I mean? So if we're talking about Bruno and Ahmad playing here, Zirkzee dropping into the pocket looking for the ball, we're talking then about Bruno, and then we're talking about Ahmad looking to get past him to make up, the attacking force going forward. I think by all means that is something that can be done. But I think the issue here, more than anything else, that probably won't suit Joshua Zirkzee is that dropping out into a position where there's now 2 players in the 10, where before it used to be just one, really. You know what I mean? You used to be talking about a midfield like that, you know, and then you were talking about, you know, let's say you were talking something like that. It was easier for Xerxes to drop out looking for the ball with Bruno running past him. Now, we're obviously talking about having two number 10s in there. If you're going to have your number 9 dropping out into this position as well, all it's going to do is it's going to clog up that area there. You know what I mean? It's going to completely clog up that area. What am I after doing? Oh, no. I'm after making me first boo-boo. There we go. So, yeah, that's what I think. You know, there's no point in Joshua Xerxes dropping out here if there's already guys there. You know, you're talking about an area then that's quite congested. Casemiro is not going to go on the overlap. Ugarte is not going to go on the overlap. You might have either Bruno Fernandes or Ahmad go past you. But I think more than anything else, we're going to see a striker rather than a number 10 or a 9.5 if we're looking at it. Now, Rasmus Højlund is the obvious candidate. We're talking about Gyökeres, for example. And, you know, people saying that, you know, Rasmus Højlund is already made Gyökeres there, and all we need to do is allow Ruben Amorim to, you know, turn him into the striker with the potential we know he has. Now, I think first and foremost, Rasmus Højlund is going to be very happy again with the new change of formation and the new you know, change of tactics. And the reason being is we've spoke in depth over the last few years, over the last maybe 18 months or so, about the lack of supply that Rasmus Højlund is getting in and around this 18-yard box. You know what I mean? In around this area here. The ball is just not getting into him. Okay? Now, he's now got two number 10s behind him that are able to create. And that mightn't be Ahmad all of the time. You know, you might have Christian Eriksen and Bruno Fernandes there when you're looking for more control. You know, if you're playing Spurs or you're playing an Aston Villa, you know, you want to get on the ball more. Maybe a Christian Eriksen will give you more control than an Ahmad would. But regardless of that, we now have two number 10s playing in a system here. We should be looking at absolutely peppering balls into Rasmus Højlund as much as we possibly can. As much as we possibly can. He needs to be getting all of his supply in here. Now, we know as well, and we've seen, you know, if you look at any of the Gyökeres highlights from Sporting Lisbon, that, you know, looking deep for the ball, he has no... Gyökeres does not come out into these areas looking for the ball. He stays... If the ball is here with Delors, for example, okay? And let's say we've got Casemiro here, Ugarte there, Bruno and Ahmad. Højlund or Gyökeres stays away. He doesn't come over to try and get involved in the game. He stays away. He curves them runs for the balls to be played down along the line and in through them channels, in through them inside channels. That's his game. And I think that's what we need to get into Rasmus Højlund a little bit more, is staying away from the play. Stay away from the play, you know, and spread the game as much as possible and allow these players to open up them gaps for you, you know, to get them balls in when we're talking about, you know, getting them in behind for you to run onto. Now, is it going to be Rasmus Højlund on the weekend? I don't think it is. I don't think Rasmus Højlund will play on the weekend. I think it's going to be, drum roll, Marcus Rashford. Sorry, guys. Oh, Jesus. I need a sip of water after that. That was a heavy one. Oh, chest is cut off me. Anyway. Smash a like on the video. I think it's going to be Marcus Rashford on the weekend. I honestly do. I think it's going to be Rashford in this role. I think it goes back to what I just said. And obviously, look, we seen the clips of training during the week as well, and Rashford was that central player. Now, obviously, you don't have a full cohort of players there, players that are away on international duty, but Rashford was back and he was involved in training. And again, going back to the previous point that I made about Rasmus Højlund and Gyökeres, for example, when the ball is in wide areas here, he tends to stay away and angle his run. That's Rashford. That's Rashford doing it off the left-hand side for so long. You know what I mean? He's always played in that role. I think Ruben Amorim will give him the opportunity on Sunday to play the number 9. I honestly do think he will. And yeah, I think it's going to be Marcus Rashford, to be quite honest with you. And I think if played correctly and, if done right, I think Rashford can be successful in this role. I honestly do. It hasn't worked for him in the past, of course it hasn't. But I think I think he's going to get a chance on the weekend. Now, there's one big glaring absentee from this starting lineup, and that, of course, is Alejandro Garnacho. And I don't want to jump the gun too early here, but I think we have a bit of a problem with Garnacho. And I planned on doing a video on it during the week, and I never got around to it, unfortunately, because I was away. But in this system, Garnacho's going to have to learn a new role, in my opinion. I mean, where do you play him? Do you play him at wing-back? Instead of Mazraoui? Defensively, is he good enough to play wing-back? I don't think so. Do you play him in the 10? Can he play in that number 10 role? Maybe instead of Ahmad? I don't think he would be too capable. I think there are... Not that he wouldn't be capable. I'm sure he'd do a decent job for you. But I think there are better players there that can do it. When we're talking about even Maine who can play in that 10. You're talking about Eriksen can play in that 10. You're talking about Mason Mount can play in that 10. All probably more capable than Garnacho. Okay? And of course Ahmad as well. Can he play in the forward role? I don't think he can. I don't think he can play as that out-and-out number 9. Like you said, when you've got Rashford there, when you've got Højlund there, when you've got Xerxes there, you know what I mean? I worry a little bit for Garnacho. Now, I could be completely wrong here, and I'm sure, be under no doubt here, I'm sure that Garnacho, and Ruben Amorim will find a place for Garnacho in the team. I do worry about Garnacho. I don't see how he fits into Ruben Amorim's system without him learning a new position. Like I said, there's more capable people to play wing back. There's more capable people to play in the 10, in the 2 10s, and there's more capable people to play in the number 9 role. So I don't know. Maybe I'm jumping the gun because Garnacho's been one of our best players this season. So Ruben Amorim is going to have to get him into this team somehow. But I wouldn't be surprised for the first few weeks if we see maybe Garnacho being brought in and out. I wouldn't be surprised. Now, maybe Ruben Amorim has a plan for him. I'm not 100% sure. But as it stands, and if we're talking about a 3-4-3 with wing-backs, 2 number 6s, 2 number 10s, and a number 9, Garnacho has never played any of them positions before. It's going to be interesting to see how he gets on. It really is. Give me one sec. Let me see what you're saying here as well, guys. We'll get through some of your comments. If he's given the freedom to roam into dangerous areas, he needs to keep his head, stop getting early yellows, because going forward, certainly lately and from set pieces, he's been an asset. I think that's in relation to Bruno. That's from Warren. Dylan says, Amorim has to stop Bruno with them Hollywood passes. He also says, Garnacho plays left wing back. Look at Sporting. Amorim always played wingers there. Yes, but, Dylan, like I said, and like Ruben Amorim said, we have to start with fullbacks. When asked about that specifically, you know what I mean? Garnacho went to fullback. I'm just saying it's going to be interesting to see how he's used over the next few weeks. That's all I'm saying. Guys, we're going to leave it there. I do appreciate you all watching. I really, really do. Please do smash a like on the video if you haven't done so already. Hit that subscribe button if you are new to the channel as well. Like I said, unfortunately, there is no watch along on Sunday. And before I go as well, guys, this lovely mustache that I'm so gracefully, protruding. It's all in aid of Movember. So if you can, please do go and donate, even if it's €1 or €2, £1 or £2, whatever the case may be. Please do. The link is in the description of the video. We're trying to raise £250, and we're just over halfway there. So if you can spare a few bob, please do. It goes to great causes for men's mental health, suicide prevention, cancer, loads of great things. So please do go and help if you can. Link is in the description below. But yeah, like I said, guys, we'll be back on Sunday night to do a match reaction. So I'm going to try and get home as quick as I can from our game up the country, watch the United game back, and then we'll do a match reaction, hopefully. If I can't get to it Sunday, we'll definitely do it Monday night. Okay, I promise you that. But thanks for watching, guys. I really, really appreciate it. Like I said, smash a like in the video, hit subscribe. Have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you. Good luck.